Hey, it's Stu, and I'm just in from a morning little free library adventure slash walk. It's warming up, but days have become quite chilly, and I'm not gonna turn my heat on quite yet. I'm not ready for all that artificial air drying me out. Anyway, this is a book haul, as I said. What do we have here? Some little free library stuff, some book sale and thrift store stuff. And excuse me, I'm about to sneeze, I think. My 2 free books from the Friends of the Library, my weekly 2 free books. So I'll just hop right in. We have excuse me, Barbara Kingsolver's Unsheltered is one of my free books. I'm overhauling for sure. I'm gonna work through my let me see, guilt and or process of feeling like an overconsumer, and or that I keep doing something that brings me joy, but maybe it also I don't have a whole lot of control of it kind of situation. So this was one of my 2 free books. I'm staying committed to getting those, at least for now. And one of the things I kind of been focusing on my haul for some reason is collection building. So if you also, this is your first video of mine, every book that I haul and have physically, I probably will also find at the library and read digitally and or audio in some kind of hybrid. And then I unhaul. So I've been tracking my books, what come from little free libraries or from free books, to make sure that they stay in that ecosystem, so that I can utilize free independent bookstores a little bit more with some of my books that I have bought from book sales, etc., and trade for credit at free independent bookstores and just give myself more options. In any case, this was one of my free books from the Friends of the Library. This is Barbara Kinslover. Barbara Kinslover sits in my collections with, keeping company with Julia Alvarez, Isabel Allende, Joyce Carol Oates. Folks have been writing for a long time, whose books I've been able to find and haul from the 80s, 90s, and all of the 2000s up till currently. So this is a current release, 2019. So it's 6 years old already, but for Barbara Kinslover, quite contemporary. And I'm just always excited to see how authors grow and adapt, especially these ones that are really writing contemporary fiction, where this contemporary fiction is taking us throughout all of these years of writing, and also how they grow, as an author. The other book, and did I mention? I'm going to mention it again, even if I did. This came with a bookmark. I'm super excited always when books come with bookmarks. Often that happens when people buy books. They put a bookmark in, the bookstore puts a bookmark in. So that also happened with my other free book, which this book, knowing nothing about it, I just knew I wanted to haul it. Look at the cover. This is a book in translation, and I'm reading Bookers right now. And speaking of Bookers, this was shortlisted for an International Booker Prize. I think maybe even in 2019. Well, I can look that up right now. It's translated by Helen Stevenson. This is Tomorrow I'll Be 20 by Elaine Mabanku. Yeah. And, okay. The copyright is 2010 and the 2013 is 2013, the translated copyright. So no, it's older than I thought. I just want to give props to this bookmark is from Kenya. It says here, Kenya's premier bookshop, which is called Prestige Bookshop. And I couldn't be more thrilled to have a book that came across the world, and landed on my shelf. It's going to be all I can do to not just throw this in my now growing, Booker pile of possibilities, we'll call it, because that's it's coming up in November. Like, I'm going to pick from it for my weekly TBRs. Okay, speaking of Booker Prize, another shortlisted author is the much loved Claire Keegan. Small things like these just get so much acclaim from readers and critics alike. And I read just the first paragraph of this with a friend after I had hauled it. So I got this at a book sale. I paid $4 for this book. Yeah, this absolutely nothing has been tainted. I mean, not a smudge, not a crease in this hardback. So it's used just because somebody bought it and took it out of a store. Anyway, we read the first paragraph. We loved it so much. It's just, there's no way. I'm trying to avoid reading these new hauls first, or I need to think about it more, about the amount that I'm hauling and how I'm just like being really sort of spontaneous about, yes, I just hauled it. And because, yeah, I'm going to let that go for now. But anyway, super excited to find that. At the same book sale, I found The Furrows, an elegy by Namwali Serpel. I think this book gets a lot of critical acclaim, and it is not necessarily a popular or well-rated book by the readers. From what I looked up, and I did look up a little, this is a this is a mystery, right? And this is written sort of in a Toni Morrison style, a little gender experimental or bending. And so, I think for mystery readers who kind of like plot-driven books, maybe it's that. Nawali Serpal was born in, I believe it was Zambia, and then she now lives in New York. And yeah, I'm excited for this book, for this offer, and for this printing press that I am not familiar with either. I want to look up more about them. Okay, Paradise Once by Olive Senior. This is a book that imagines the Taino women, I believe, in what is now, Taino women in what is now Cuba. In the 1500s, which is upon their discovery of a lost sailor from Europe. I don't know much about this offer. I don't know much about this printing press. I know this is a Jamaican Canadian offer. So much about this book intrigued me when I picked it, and then again I went over it with a friend, and it was real. We read the foreword, the author's note, I'm sorry, and I do really like reading author's notes. I don't know how much I need or want to know about books before I read them, but I'm trying to be more discerning. Anyway, there we go. Beautiful, perfectly conditioned hardback. At a thrift store, I found this, My Monticello, a little short fiction and quite contemporary. 2021. So, 5 years now as we're going on to 2026. However, I am excited to give Jocelyn Nicole Johnson a try in this little book. And I found that there was a stellar find. Again, these are $4. So now let's talk about the little free library find, shall we? Okay, so I have 2 ARCs. I get excited about ARCs. I get and I think somebody got this ARC and then maybe didn't read it. I get so excited about ARCs, and I don't know why. I can't explain it. It's the case for this one. It's not published yet, so I won't be able to find it digitally. So my plan for this one, no one would do what the Lamperts have done by Sophie Hannah, is it's a mystery. Is to look on my shelf and make sure that I don't have any other ARC mysteries that maybe I could just replace it, because I really like mysteries, but I don't need a stockpile of them, and they're available a lot. So, um, that's one thing I'm going to do. The other thing that I'm going to do is I think I'll take this. I do a yearly trip to San Diego to visit friends. And my friends have a lanai that I like to sit out and read in. And so as this would just be primarily physical, the font I already checked out is fine. Like I can read this book, especially in natural light, probably without getting any kind of a headache. I won't need any kind of hybrid. And so I think that, yeah, I will go ahead and take this to California and read it then, or see if I read it. And if I don't, then just unhaul it into a little free library there. Looks like Blue Hand Girls by Rowana Miller has been released only just recently. So I think that's going to be another one. I don't anticipate finding a book that's just been released, for instance, to be able to check out from the library. That being said, maybe by the time I go to San Diego, it could be true. Anyway, these two books made me excited. I traded more than 2 books because I'm unhauling, like I said, I think I said at the beginning of the video, I've unhauled like 20 some books, which made me really happy. And if I didn't say, I'll say it again, like I unhaul 100% of the books that I read. They all get unhauled, and they're all unhauled, at least into little free libraries where I find new ones, or I don't. I think that that's fine. I love to put books out into the community. So I'm going to think of these as replacement books. Maybe I'm going to try to find other arcs that maybe I just haven't gotten to that are in mystery thriller, my very small mystery thriller shelf, and decide which I'll keep, and then do in the next local unhaul either one of these or one of those, and then take whatever to San Diego. Another arc is this, The Collaborators by Michael Idov. Okay, this is from 2024, so I should be able to find this book, which is good because this font is a little trying for me. Michael Idov is a novelist, director, and screenwriter, and he's Latvian-born American, raised in Riga under the Soviet occupation. He moved to New York after graduating from the University of Michigan. So that's kind of the background of this writer. I'm interested in authors' backgrounds. I'm interested to see what that will translate into in his writing, especially in building the settings and developing these characters. This book apparently combines realistic thrills and sophisticated spycraft with witty dialogue. And its sort of setting is post-Soviet Russia. Okay, I think that I don't necessarily need any, but I did unhaul. Actually, I did just unhaul a spy thriller that I decided, you know what, I've had it for too long. I didn't read it. So I think that was a fair trade. Okay. Speaking of Man Booker, well, Booker and bookmarks, right? Booker, this is Man Booker, but it's now known as the Booker. And bookmarks, this is Colleen Toybin's The Master. It's now my, and also collection building. It's now my 3rd Colleen Toybin book. I'm tempted to read this and then take it and see if my friend in San Diego has it. I think that he would be interested. If he doesn't, as he gave me a couple Michael Cunningham's, and Michael Cunningham does the blurb here. This is from 2004, I think. That's when it was shortlisted for, this is back when it was a Man Booker, right? So yeah, 2004. I thought it was a great find. I'm excited to have this in my collection. This book I hauled, this is a memoir. I normally don't do memoirs, and I'm almost positive I've seen this book before and passed it up, maybe even in this little free library. So this is The Manicurist's Daughter, a memoir by Susan Liu. I recently heard a telling of a story that was maybe similar to this memoir, and I wanted to give the person who told me that story this book. So whether I read it or not, part of me feels like I should read it to make sure that I'm not mistaken, but also I think it's okay to give a book to someone and say, maybe it is or isn't what I think it is, but I thought of you. So this book already has a plan, and it's primarily why I hauled it. I need to say as well, I really am excited these days. So collection building is something that's exciting me, and signed books. The story of the book continues to be so important to me, and this book is signed by the author, and that's what kind of compelled me to it too. And that's, oh yeah, this one didn't have a bookmark. The Colleen Tobin did. It had a bookmark that I've never seen before, from a place I'd never seen before. And that's what I'm going to say about this too. The Four Seasons by Heidi Harrison. I don't know. This is kind of a book that gives homage or centers around Vivaldi's Four Seasons. Recently, when I was in the Czech Republic, I heard the Four Seasons, at least parts of it, in old cathedrals, which was fantastic. I don't know how excited I am about this book. It was published in 2018, and it is signed. And so I'm willing, yeah, right there on the top. This Sapphire book, Salinas, California. I think I'm interested. I'm getting more interested in knowing about these printing presses, and these that are publishing maybe the lesser known ones. And of course, it comes with a fantastic bookmark that has James Baldwin on it. And it says, "You think your pain and your heartbreak are unprecedented in the history of the world, but then you read." So yeah, I'm excited to give this book a chance. And if I don't within the next year, I can give it back out to the little free libraries. And since it's 2018, it's not a very recent book. I don't feel any pressure of like reading it, so it's still contemporary. And then give it back to the little free libraries or to the friends of the library, so someone else can also maybe speculate and experience the joy that I'm experiencing just holding it and thinking about it right now. Okay, look at this copy. But y'all, James is coming to me soon. Like, I don't know what that's going to look like, because it's still so popular and hype, but I believe in the next year it's going to start showing up in some of the spaces that I collect books, since I don't buy new books, right? I kind of, part of what I'm doing is to scavenge. So I think, once James comes, it's worth it to give a reread to this book. And I am, I couldn't be more excited about this edition. Even the state of how kind of bunged up it is. You could see inside the story of this book. It's been sold for 45 cents, no 25 cents. It's got some stamps from former book sellers, and this particular edition was published in 1984. Oh my gosh, Stephen Graham Jones. I just couldn't. I'm not a horror person, but I understand that the use of tropes and the horror genre that Stephen Graham Jones, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. I mean, he just does it. He just does it so well. It has some writing in it. It says 2022 read harder topic, book recommended by a friend with different reading tastes. Okay, already. Also coming up in November is Native American Heritage Month, and I do have a stack of Native American authors that have been recently hauled or hauled before that I'm going to integrate with the bookers, so that I can, have some integration instead of just reading a kind of booker type book and or a certain type of book all the way through the week. That's what I've decided to do, at least for now. So, something tells me this is just going to go on that stack, that pile of possibilities, and see where it takes me. Super excited to find this today. And then the last one is A Brightness Long Ago by Guy Gavriel Okay, this is fantasy. I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna read more about it. I don't have very much fantasy, but I have enough fantasy now that every time I haul it, I say, okay, it's good to have a little fantasy on my shelf. I'm going to get excited to read it. And then I read little to no fantasy. I appreciate that this may or may not be part of a series. So if it's part of a series, I will let it go. I'm really not into series right now. Duologies I can handle, but I need a standalone book. I don't commit myself. I know, I understand readers' love and or passion for reading a whole series and really, really, really getting into the depth and breadth of world building. Not really me ever as a reader. Maybe I'll become that reader one day, but I have so many books on my shelf that if this isn't standalone, I will let it go, and or I'll look at the few other fantasy I have and make some choices. Maybe I have to also give up one of my other fantasies, be more honest with myself about if I am planning on reading it and when that would be, or am I just holding on to a book that somebody else could be enjoying and maybe I'll get it back, or maybe I'll get something else that I'll enjoy as much or equally back in a future little free library book sale. So that's where I am with that book, and that is the end of this haul. I'm feeling pretty good about it. Like some ARC, some sign books, some collection building, some classics, some stellar finds in the little free library, and then everything that I got from the Friends of the Library or the like thrifting, or I don't know what's stuck in my hair there, it's bothering me. Okay, thrifting or book sales was really discerning, like something that was unique for my shelf. So there we have it, book haul mid-October.